everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of Faith and Feelings. We're 3 episodes in, and I still don't know how far along we have to go, so bear with me. But alunta continua, right? So obviously the last 2 episodes have been just like filler episodes, educational episodes. And I hope you guys, a lot of you gave me feedback. It's like, oh my god, those are things that we really need to look at. Those are 3 things we need to be able to differentiate from when we're dealing with people. Now we're gonna get into the dealing of people, right? And we're going to be looking at safe spaces and what that means in the church. What does a safe space mean for the church and as an individual, right? We're going to be looking at what it is and what it's not, why people feel like they don't have a safe space in the church, and what we can do to make people feel safe in the church, right? Especially when it comes to speaking on personal issues and, getting them the help that they need and such and such and such. So, why do people, this is a question that popped up. I was like, why do people feel more comfortable opening up to, for example, why do people feel safer opening up on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok than they do in church when it comes to their personal issues? And, having seen that happen multiple times, I've seen that people receive better responses from people online than they do in smaller circles in church or from people in church. So, this goes on to the scripture of Proverbs 18:24. This is, there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. That is our base scripture for this episode. And, there are people that we trust more than others, which is okay. It's fine. But when it comes to the church, we have to be able to understand that there is a certain group of people that we have to trust more than other people within the church. And this goes to, say, leaders or people that represent the people or people that are there to help people. We need to be able to trust those people compared to the usual members of the congregation. Right, so what is a safe space? A safe space is someone or something that you can go to and release whatever it is that is within you in that space and still come out of that space knowing that what I said or what I've done in that safe space will not leak out to the general public. In that safe space, I was held with empathy, with compassion, I was understood, I was not judged, and I was helped instead of being cast aside. So what a safe space is not is a place where they come into that place where they are speaking to someone or they feel the need to do something, and now they're being judged, they're being gossiped about, they're being talked about, and people are being forced to do things that they're not comfortable with. Maybe they're being forced to be vulnerable or talk about a situation that they're not ready to talk about, or being forced to kind of hurry up and talk about your problem. I have other things to do other than sit here and listen to you talk about your problems. Like, everybody has problems, that kind of thing. I mean, if you've ever come across somebody like that, then yikes. We will talk about this kind of people, and you can avoid those type of people. If somebody has responded to you in such a manner, please avoid that person at all costs until they learn to have empathy and to actually sit down and be an active listener, right? So again, Proverbs 11:13 says, a trustworthy person keeps a secret. Even in the Bible, even the Bible will tell you that a person you can trust is someone that can keep a secret. If you tell someone something and then you hear it, you just hear a speck of it, so it's a drop of it from somebody else, it could be purely coincidental. But if you know that I told this person and this person knows this person, why are they talking about this? Why are they dropping hints? Why are they, there's a word that I'm looking for and I can't seem to find it. It's an English word. Why are they insinuating? There we go, insinuating. Sorry if you why is somebody insinuating that they know what my problem is? Have you ever been like amongst a group of people and somebody like says something that you're like, wait a minute, what did you say? Where did you hear that from? And why did you say it like that, looking at me like that? So if you've had those instances, by any means necessary. So now let's get into why people don't open up in church. And in the previous episode, we talk about why prayer is not enough, right? We will still get into that. But another thing I think we spoke about in the first episode is that people don't have a safe space to talk about their problems. So people fear being labeled, being called faithless, and even to worst case scenario, being demonized for having the problems that they have. Instead of somebody coming up with empathy and compassion, be like, hey, you know, I understand what you're going through, and I'd really like to help you, but I can't, in whatever capacity that I'm at, I will help you in this manner. But instead, people are like, why would you feel like that? Don't you trust God? Don't you believe that God's gonna come through and help you? Like, you're not praying enough. Maybe you should fast about it. Maybe you should, sit in a quiet place and just worship the Lord. Excuse me, did you ask them if they did all of that before you came to a conclusion that they're not doing that enough? So, and we spoke about breaches and confidentiality, where you tell someone something and it spreads like a wildfire. And the worst thing for me is that in the house of God, true or not true, gossip spreads like a wildfire. It's like gasoline and fire. Somebody lights a match in a room and there's gasoline, the entire room will explode and catch in flames. That's church and people's information. No matter one person has it, best believe that 6 other people within the next hour have heard. And that's wrong. I cannot emphasize this enough, guys. Gossip does more harm than good. And if you gossip, trust me, I've been there, done that. I'm not saying that I'm clean. Hell no. But what I'm saying is that we need to be careful who we reshare the information. And also, if the person clearly stated, what I'm telling you is between you and me, please, by any means necessary, do not repeat what I just said to you to anybody else. Please keep that promise. Please keep that information to yourself. We do not care for it. We do not even want to hear it. Okay? Just because I know them and they spoke to you doesn't mean you have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. It's not everything that I need to know. And it's not everything that everybody needs to know about other people. So keep your mouth and move on with life. Okay? People fear being preached to instead of being listened to. When you're talking to someone about a problem and they immediately start quoting scripture and you're like, that is not what I wanted to hear. For crying out loud, that's not what I wanted to hear. And they start preaching at you, they start quoting scripture, they tell you, hey, David went through the same thing. I know I did it in the previous episode, but that was for, backing up what I was saying. And people are like, hey, you need to, kneel down and pray, you need to da-da-da-da-da, and you start you're like, okay, I'm never telling you anything. There was a time where I spoke to someone about something and they did that to me, and I vowed to never speak to that person ever again. Till this day, I have not. Because that's not what I wanted to hear in that moment. I needed encouragement, yes. But the type of encouragement that I needed, maybe I didn't state it. That, I don't need, scripture, but I just need somebody to listen to me. And I think also as the person who is coming to someone with a problem, I think it's best, you could try your best to kind of give them the goal at the end of the conversation. Be like, hey, can I please speak to you? I just need somebody to hear what I'm saying. I just want somebody to listen to me. Right, that's all I need. I just lend me an ear, right? If somebody says, I'd really like your advice on something, keyword advice, that's when you can give your advice. I really need you to pray with me about a problem. Pray, keyword pray. I really need your help with the word. There's something that I'm struggling to understand. With the word, keyword word, they need scripture, they need this. So as the listener and the listenee, I think we need to clearly understand. Our communication has to be clear, right? If the person did not mention any of those things and they've said what they needed to say, what you could do as the listener, you say, hey, I've heard everything that you've said. What is it that you'd like me to help you with? Problem solved. There we go. There is a simple question that's it. What is it that I can help you with as an individual? Then we can move on, right? Cool. And last but not least, leadership lacks training. That is a very big, I think one of the reasons why I'm advocating for this is the training and the educating of church leaders on how to handle people's problems, etc., etc., etc. Which is why I say there's a need for qualified individuals within the church that handle these mental situations, these mental health situations, that help people with psychological help, that help people with grief, that help people through depression, that help people through anxiety, all of that stuff. It's very important because, yes, I understand as a leader, there's a lot on your plate, which is why there needs to be designated individuals that help with those situations. Because you can't dump everything on one person. It becomes overwhelmed, and in turn, that person could burn out and start reacting and responding to people in a way that is not conducive. So, and the reason why people keep quiet and you end up hearing it, no, they left the church. Oh no, they're no longer talking to so and so and so. Silence is often self-protection. It is not rebellion. When somebody keeps quiet about something or about whatever it is that they're going to, or if they just keep quiet in general, it's a way of them protecting themselves. And that's okay. You need to allow people to be silent. And when they're ready, they can come to you and they can talk to you. So the scripture for that would be Job 16 verse 2. It says, I have heard many things like these. Miserable comforters you are all. Job even, if you know the story of Job, Job was surrounded by his friends when he was down and out. And they just kept, everything they said was valid. Cool. That's why it's in the Bible. It's all valid. But he's like, no, man, that's not what I need right now. Like, no, you guys are horrible comfort. You don't know what you're doing, but it's okay. It's okay. And I think if we really look at the friends that Job was surrounded by, we can learn a thing or two about empathy, compassion, being active listeners, and also asking the person that is in the problem what it is that they need from you as the friend, right? Cool. So we're going to go into Jesus and his safe relationships. Jesus was surrounded by people, crowds. He was always around people. And I think I see myself in that part of Jesus, of wanting to always be around people, always wanting to help people, always wanting to talk to people, always wanting to just be in the crowd. And Jesus shared his pain with only a few. Let's look at the story of him in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he went into the garden with only 3 people, Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, right? And I think Jesus chose those people because he trusted them. He knew that if I went to my secret place or to my quiet place with these people, I trust that they will not relay this information out. He chose the right people to surround him during his time of need. And that's what we need to do as people. And that's who we need to be as people to other people, right? So wisdom is not who you trust. Wisdom is who you trust and not how much faith you have, right? I put all my trust in the Lord, for I know that he will come through for me. In a lot of the scriptures, it says we need to trust God. Once we trust God, that faith element comes into play, right? So in Matthew 29 verse 38, Jesus says, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow. Stay here and keep watch with me. In another version, it says, wait with me and stay awake. Like I said, with the people that we surround ourselves with, we need to clearly state what it is that we need from them so that they don't overstep boundaries. We'll talk about boundaries some other time, but we need to ensure that the people that we surround ourselves, our private circle, our inner circle, when you're calling them while you're going through something, they need to understand the boundaries. They need to understand their role in that entire scenario so that people are not doing too much or they are overstepping and they don't upset you or make the situation worse. So what can we do to help in a very practical, simple way? So like I said, for the church, trained people, safe and private areas where people can talk. If there can be a designated room for people that can sit, or if you can find a quiet corner to talk to that said person, if there are no private rooms, do that. Confidentiality, clearly state how confidential you want your problem to be kept. You need to state what it is that you need. Please don't tell anyone. Please don't share my story with anyone. If you can, I'm too scared to share my problem with a leader. If you don't mind sharing the story with this leader, just state what it is that you need from a confidentiality point of view. And as the church, have clear referral systems. Know, as a leader of a department, of a zone, or whatever, always know who to refer certain problems to. If there's somebody that's designated for a specific problem, know who to take that person to. If you don't know, find out. Ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. Truthfully, there's nothing wrong with asking. And as individual, listen more than you speak. In James 1:19, it says, be quick to listen and slow to speak, and also slow to anger. That's the whole scripture. But the first two are very important. These things must work more than this works. Thank you. Avoid fixing, diagnosing, or preaching. We spoke about this earlier. When somebody states a problem to you, don't be quick to quote scripture. Don't be quick to preach. First, ask what it is they need, and then continue to resolve that issue according to their needs, right? Don't be like, in James 1:19, it says, be slow. No, relax, calm down. I know you want to preach at heart. I know you're a preacher at heart. I know you want to spread the gospel. They know the gospel too. Some of these people know the gospel too. Please, okay, please, let's learn to ask, how can I help you? You've stated this issue. How can I help you? I got into this weird little habit of people, if they call me and be like, oh, can you please come here? And I'll be there and be like, hey, how can I help you? That was like an instinctive question at the time. I didn't know why I was doing that, but then I suddenly realized that when I was thinking through it, I was like, oh, that's me wanting the other person to clarify what it is they need so that I can execute the task accordingly and not go in different directions, right? Get into the habit of asking someone, how can I help you? If they call you, if they need, just, how can I help you? Is there anything that you need help with? Are you okay? Stuff like that. So, and as an individual, know when to refer to a professional or to a designated church leader. Please, if you're not ordained, if you're not called to, please don't do anything. Just refer them to a higher power. Please. Please. Too many of you have fallen victim into the hands of people that you think are ordained by, or people. There are people that are ordained and called to, but sometimes their calling is not ready. Sometimes some of these things, they're not ready. They have not fully matured into their calling. So you prematurely, activate a calling that's not ready, and then it becomes a mess. I know of a story. I won't tell you because whatever. But I know of a story where it was like, hey, you shouldn't have. And I remember telling them, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have gone to them. You could have probably gone to, and I refer them to a leader that was designated for that problem. And they're like, if I had known then, I would have done that. So please, if you know there are people designated within your church to deal with certain issues, please go to those people. Do not go to junior. Okay, let me not say don't go to junior pastors, but don't go to people that they can't handle or they're not ready to handle. You need to be able to discern. Discernment is so important. It's very important. I cannot emphasize the importance of discernment. Sheesh. I cannot. If you don't know what to do, ask the Lord to help you. That is my 2 cents, everybody. Sorry if this episode was long, but I hope you guys learned a thing or two. I hope you guys, get help where you can get help. If you need help, I'm here to help as well. Y'all know where to find me. You can find me here, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I'm not on Twitter. No, I'm not going there. Twitter is just too much. But you know where to find me. If you see me in person, you are more than welcome to pull me aside. We can talk, have a quick chat. I can help you the best way I know how. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, until the next episode, love, light, and happiness, and goodbye.